Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a new type of video for you. So, if you watch my channel, it's likely that you sort of follow the new knife trends that are going on with all the major knife companies, and perhaps you're following along with the information coming out of SHOT Show 2017. That just wrapped up this weekend, and a lot of new information is available on some of the new knives that have come out. A lot of the major manufacturers, especially the U.S. manufacturers, debut their new models, and all of the knives you see here on the table, their parent companies all had something new to present there at SHOT Show. So we've got a CRKT, we've got a Benchmade, a ZT, Southern Grind, and Spyderco. All five of these guys were represented there. And after talking to some of the other knife guys in the community, we got to discussing some of the knives that were coming out, and we thought some of them were cool and some of them weren't so cool. And so I wanted to put this video out there for the community and for these other guys to make their own videos about the top 5 knives from SHOT Show 2017 in our opinion, in my opinion. What are the 5 knives that I'm the most excited about based on sort of the information that I saw and sort of my my biases or my understandings of the knife market as it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put these guys away. I want you guys to think about what knives you liked from SHOT Show and maybe tell me what 5 knives you would have chosen. Some of these are going to be kind of obvious based on the history of my channel, but we're just going to kind of go through each of these and talk about them a little bit. So I'm doing this the old-fashioned way. I've just got some paper here because I don't want to take the time to edit a video with all these things sliding in and out. So number 1, we're going to have the Zero Tolerance ZT0055. This is an exciting knife collaboration with GTC Knives. GTC Knives is, Gustavo Cecchini. He's a Brazilian custom knife maker. Makes some incredible designs. He works with titanium and exotic, Damascus and everything. Makes these amazing integral knives as well. He's got some interesting contributions to the knife world. He has a system of bearings called GTC bearings that he sells that are 440C stainless steel bearings, and he's pioneered what's called the SLT, or spring-loaded tab flipper, where the flipper tab is hidden away. You pull it out, it's held in by a spring, you pull it out gently, and then you can flip the knife out. So that's a really cool thing. This is the first production knife that's going to have that. I think that makes it very appealing to have that new kind of novelty thing going on. In addition, the design is really interesting. It's very angular, very interesting. I want to get my hands on it and see what it feels like. Now, something that I've noticed from the photographs, if you'll see here, there's only the pivot hardware is visible on the front of the knife. I'm noticing that it looks like it's screwed in from the back, which adds to it a nice sort of custom element to it. So it's a very clean looking front face. All the hardware matches, it's black. They've done a spring titanium clip, which is really interesting, without any ZT branding on it. It's not just one of their off-the-shelf stainless steel coated ZT clips. They've actually done a special clip on it, and it looks really cool. And it may even be compatible with some other ZT clips or aftermarket clips with that screw design there. Another interesting thing is the 2 grinds that are going on here. It's got a compound grind, it's got a thicker flat grind here and a thinner flat grind there for different cutting characteristics. Very, very neat knife. I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be the runaway hit of the year. This is kind of plain Jane in its gray titanium and stonewash finish. I think that the customizers are going to have a field day with this. I might even send it off for some customization depending on sort of how I feel once I get it. But I have already pre-ordered this knife. I cannot wait. I think this is the runaway hit of the show. This is my absolute #1 favorite knife. So I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. My next favorite knife is going to be the Zero Tolerance 0850. So I know I'm going to be kind of biased here by having 2 ZTs right up front, but I'm just going to say that they really sort of hit it out of the park. These 2 knives were definitely a couple of the coolest blades I saw. One more point here, the 0055 is going to retail at about $220, so an incredibly good price on that knife. They said it was like $275 MSRP, but it's $220 on the sites, and that's an incredible deal. This one's going to come in at a little bit more expensive, around $320, but let me explain the differences that we have going on here. The guy from ZT explained that this is sort of the premier or the flagship model for the year. This is a collaboration with custom knife makers Dmitry Sinkovich and Todd Rexford. They collaborated on a custom knife that looked like this, and now ZT is producing this. It's got a 20 CV blade, CPM 20 CV, really, really nice, highest quality steel possible. It runs on phosphor bronze washers. It's got all this customized aluminum hardware, including the pivot sort of collar or face, the thumb stud, and then there's a cylindrical backspacer that has this sort of I don't know, gun barrel appearance to it as well. Very neat. All those are done in aluminum. I think this is a titanium clip. It's a titanium subframe lock. This is a full carbon fiber scale, full thickness carbon fiber that has a blue thing woven into it, so it's a dark blue. It looks like that Bugatti type carbon fiber. Amazing look. I haven't pre-ordered it because it comes in at $320 retail. Kind of expensive, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be worth the price. There's no flipper on this one. ZT has gone back to just a thumb disc or a thumb stud opening. Kind of interesting. I'm really intrigued by this knife. I think it's going to be very comfortable in the hand. 3.75 inch blade. The 0055 is also 3.75, so they're coming out with these bigger knives. That should be really, really, really nice. And 4.3 ounces. That's a nice weight on such a big knife, and that's going to be really the technical masterpiece coming out of ZT this year. It'll be interesting to see if they do any variations on this, different colors of the carbon fiber. Apparently they can also do a bronze carbon fiber, whether they change the color of the hardware or something. But this is just a spectacular looking knife. Yes, it's getting into a little bit fancier stuff. I've seen a lot of people complaining that ZT is not doing the big, thick, strong folders, you know, built like a tank thing anymore, but this is still built like a tank and more knife than really anyone's ever going to need. Super, super impressed by those two showings straight off the bat. Moving down the sort of cost chain a little bit is going to be the CRKT Remedy. So CRKT is a company that, you know, I kind of hold a soft spot for because they were my first couple of knives and they did serve me well. Now I know they're really not the highest in terms of standards of quality, but I've seen them kind of make some effort in certain areas to pick up their quality and their sort of interesting knives that they've got going on. To me, this was their #1 hit of the show, the Remedy with Liang Ma. Now, they did the GSD last year, the Get Stuff Done. Really, really enjoyed that knife. I never picked it up. It just was a little bit too heavy, a little bit too thick. The clip wasn't quite right. I just never ended up getting one, even though they sometimes were offered at ridiculously good prices. But this one's coming in with a 3.5 inch blade of 8CR13 MOV. It's going to have a 4.7 closed length, and it's going to be a nice big EDC size. The weight is going to come in at about 5.4 ounces, which is okay for me, but a little bit still on the heavier side. But I really enjoy the way that the blade is ground. In the videos you can see it's a very shiny, very nicely done hollow grind. This thing is probably going to slice incredibly, incredibly well. Stainless steel liners and everything. It's going to be very solidly built. I see this one being a really strong knife that will do well despite where it's going to come in. It's going to be in the sub $100 range, I know it. But it will be interesting to see how this one does. I think this will be a hit for CRKT this year. In fact, I'd be tempted to pick one up myself, even though, you know, I don't always dabble in that sort of a range there. The next exciting knife to me is coming from Spyderco. Now, Spyderco had a huge showing at SHOT Show, and to be honest, there were some other knives that were supremely, supremely interesting, but I didn't see myself buying them. I'm really just giving you a list of knives that I'm probably going to end up buying at some point during the year. The next one is this, the Spyderco Sliver. This may look familiar because this was designed by Paul Alexander, the same gentleman who designed the Spyderco Ouroboros. That knife sort of reached its popularity and fame, if you will, also because Nick Shabazz had a very bad experience with the Teflon washers in that knife, where it seems that maybe the frame kind of shredded the Teflon washer and it kind of ruined the knife. But this one is now slightly different. This is going to be a flipper. You can see the flipper tab there, but it's also a compression lock knife. So the very first compression lock flipper. Eric in the videos has been very clear that there will be more in the future. It comes with an S30V blade. The delivery time, he said, is somewhere around June or July in the summertime. The rest of the specs were really unavailable, though. I mean, it looks like it might be a 3.3 or 3.5 inch blade, something like that. We don't know if it runs on phosphor bronze or on bearings or on Teflon. We don't know any of those things. It has the wire clip and the G10 carbon fiber laminate scales. A little disappointing on that one. I don't really like those CF laminate scales. I wish it would just be either G10 or carbon fiber. Just stop messing around. In any case, I think that's going to be a really great knife. I love the blade shape. I love the overall profile. The Ouroboros was a little bit small for my liking to begin with. This is like a bigger one. I think this is going to be a 10 out of 10. I'm probably going to get that as soon as it comes out as well. The next knife that I might end up with this year that's going to be number 5 out of 5. Yep, you guessed it. It's another zero tolerance. Well, what can I say? I enjoyed all of the knives that they came out with this year. I just don't think that any other company had the consistency of the innovation and the interesting sort of it factor that people are looking for in the market right now. And this is just my opinion. You probably have a totally different list of 5, so just listen to mine and then tell me what yours are down below. I'm not trying to start an argument. This is just for fun, right? We're just having fun talking about these things. So the next one is the Zero Tolerance 0460. I never got the 0450. I really liked it. I almost got it like 20 times, but I just never pulled the trigger because it was a little bit plain for me, and I didn't think I was going to keep it because it just seemed a little bit boring to me. This is like an evolution of the 450, now the 460, that is a little bit more interesting to look at and looks like it'll be a little bit more interesting to hold and feel. So this is another Dmitry Sinkovich design. It's based on the Polychotsky Junior custom design. We've got a full carbon fiber scale on this side that's got a bronze underlying color to it. We've got a full titanium backside and frame lock. Nice little clip here. Some people, this will be a hit or a miss. This is, a nice clip to me. It's simple, it's plain, it's going to be functional. You can grab those screws and get it out of there. I like that clip. It's not super low riding, but it's also, it's only going to show that much of the knife above that. So that's really not that bad. And if you know the Sinkovich flippers, you know that this thing is going to be crazy smooth. S35 VN, beautifully satin finish blade. That was one of the complaints I had on the 450 too. I really wanted a satin finish and the carbon fiber. They did do that in ZDP 189. I regret not picking that one up, but to those who have that, they understand. This is going to be a great knife here. I'm really thankful that they're revising that small design there. So that's my 5. Those are my 5 knives. We can go ahead and recap here. Number 5 was the ZT0460. Number 4 was the Spyderco Sliver. Number 3 was the CRKT Remedy. Number 2 was the ZT0850. And number 1 was definitely the ZT0055. So I've got some honorable mentions that I wanted to just bring out here. First and foremost, so let's see if I can get this in here. The ZT0920. This is a Les George collaboration. Beautifully milled 3D handles. A little bit big for me. I think that's also going to be around 3.75 or 4 inches. It's also in 20 CV. It just doesn't really speak to me in the same way. It looks a little bit more aggressive. Not really my style, but it looks beautifully made. I also think that's going to be a big hit. Great choice of steel on there, and I think it comes in at a pretty reasonable price too, like around $300. Now the Benchmade. I want to talk about Benchmade for a second. Benchmade had, in my honest opinion, the poorest showing at SHOT Show. I feel kind of bad because they were talking about how it's their 30th anniversary and how they wanted to show how they've evolved and this kind of stuff. But I just want to be honest, I didn't really enjoy any of their new offerings. They really seem to be rather boring, rather simple, kind of micro evolutions on some older designs, and all of them kind of look the same. They're like plastic handles and things like that. And now they did have this knife, the 781 Anthem, and this is sort of their I don't know, their call to attention that, hey, we can do this too. This is an integral titanium knife, you know, just like my Resenti Nirvana is an integral handle here. One piece of titanium. They're going to be doing that here with this Benchmade Anthem, and they're proud of that fact, and it looks really nice, except for the fact that there is a clip. Tell me what that clip looks like, just for a second. Think about it. Think about it. Yes, you're right. It looks like a penis. The clip looks like a penis. There are a bunch of Benchmade clips that look like that. There's a lot of controversy about it, and now they've created a ribbed 3D version of that, and it just kills that knife for me. It absolutely kills that knife. I cannot even look at it normally. And maybe I'm seeing what I want to see, but I swear to you, that ruins the whole knife for me. I'm sorry, Benchmade. You've got to come out with a different clip than that, man. You'll sell them more if you don't have that. I'm not the only one who feels that way. Kizer had an interesting showing. They are definitely sort of an up-and-comer. They've been here for a couple of years. They have some interesting designs. A lot of them are kind of boring. I'll say that the Uprising, you can catch that on Nick Shabazz's channel. He already got his hands on one of those and did a review and a disassembly on that. Really cool looking knife there. Very interesting design philosophy going on there. I'll say that the Lancer 2 may end up being the first Kizer knife that I ever buy. Go and take a look at that thing. It's absolutely incredible. It's a collaboration with Ray Laconico and another knife maker, a small EDC size, really nice details with some holes in the titanium frame that have been polished and anodized. Very cool looking knife. I may end up with one of those Lancer 2s this year. Little seen in the videos, but seen in Knife News' sort of review of SHOT Show was the Fox Knives booth. Now, I've been excited about their Phoenix knife that they've had coming out. If you're familiar with the Custom Knife Factory Muscle, that was the Tashi Barusha collaboration from this past year. Big knife there. They're doing a 3.5-inch version of it. Looks beautiful in a blue and a bronze. Really looking forward to seeing that once it's all said and done. I don't think that they're readily available right now, but should be soon. Gonna really be tempted by that one. And I think a real honorable mention needs to come into the form of the Spyderco Hanan here. This is the other compression lock flipper that they're doing with Brad Southard. Really nice looking knife there. Not a huge fan of recurves, but I'm sure that knife is going to be a home run for them. The positron was really cool, and the regular Southard flipper, all of them great knives. There were a bunch of other knives that were released. These are just the ones that kind of caught my eye. And I talked to you about my top 5. I challenge Kevin Cleary, Nick Shabazz, and Treddy's Knife Reviews to make a top 5 knives of SHOT Show 2017. Share it with the community. I ask for you guys down below to tell me your top knives from the show. Which one are you the most excited about? For me, it's that 0055. For somebody else, it might be a different knife. I think it's going to be fun to see what the other guys have to say about the show. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.